From the News Channel 5 Network, this is MorningLine with Nick Barris.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine. Nick Barris here with you on a Monday. I hope you had a very good weekend. I don't know where you were, but boy, it was storming in my neck of the woods. Boy, did we have a lot of rain and thunder and lightning. You saw what happened during the Grand Prix. They had to delay the big race yesterday and all that. But the rain in a lot of areas was kind of nice. So back at it this day, and it's going to be hot and humid out there. So just sit back and join us in the program this morning. We're talking health-related issues. Specifically this morning, we're going to be talking about COVID and where we stand on that right now with what appears to be a slight increase and spike in that. Also, monkeypox. You know, some of the questions many of us have about, all right, how dangerous really is it? Can I get a vaccine right now? Should I get a vaccine? Who qualifies for a vaccine? All of that kind of stuff. As we see some of the cases of monkeypox surfacing, we know it's here in Tennessee and what it really means. And to answer these questions and put it in terms that we all understand, is a frequent guest on this program. He's been with us so many times in the past. And it's good to have him here with us this morning. Dr. Calvin Smith from Meharry. Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. Always great to be here, man.
It is good to see you. It's been a while. And I don't know, we might have had you scheduled to come on a while back. And as often as you've been on this program to talk about COVID, which is primarily what he came on for, finally now you can speak from personal experience.
Unfortunately, yes, Nick, I can. I can speak from personal experience. I was ill for about 2 weeks.
Wow.
With a pretty bad case of COVID. I'm pretty sure, I didn't get the full genomic testing of it, but I'm pretty sure based on my symptoms that I had the BA.5 variation of it.
Okay.
I, to that point, had both of my vaccinations. I had one booster. Was trying to get my second booster and was not able to get the second booster, but was, you know, in a pretty healthy state.
Yeah,
and,
you're a healthy guy.
Yeah, you know, taking all the precautions, washing my hands, wearing masks.
How? So is it just that it's that contagious? You wrong time, wrong place? I mean, it can happen to anyone.
Yeah, I think I was caught slipping. I think I had gone to an event, of a friend, and there were a few people there, one of which had just gotten over COVID. Okay. And I think that they may have gotten over the symptoms, but we're still kind of a little contagious. Yeah. And I think that's where it happened because I know of at least one other person that was there that got it. Okay. And so this variation is, to your point earlier, very, very contagious as compared to the previous. Okay. You know, as it stood before, you know, you could be in a room with 5 people and 2 get it. In this variation, you can be in a room and 4 of the 5 get it. So I was one of the unlucky ones.
Less likely to kill you?
Less likely to kill you, but I want to say to everybody, this is not the flu. I was definitely down and out. Severe body aches, severe fever.
Oh, yeah. I remember you let us know when it happened. I was concerned about you. And you imagine it could have been far worse had you not been vaccinated.
Oh, I absolutely believe that.
See, that's the thing. A lot of people are going to say, well, what good's the vaccine? You got it anyway. And that's foolish to even say it in that way. The point is vaccines aren't 100% foolproof, but it is your belief that having been vaccinated and having some antibodies doesn't necessarily prevent you from getting it, but it kept it from getting worse. Without it, you might have really been in dire straits.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I didn't have much in the way of lung issues or breathing problems, and I'm certainly attributing that to having the vaccination. There are, and working in the hospital, again, the numbers are ticking up. You know, we're seeing people in the hospital, in the ICU, again, on ventilators, again. So, you know, it's not quite the numbers that they were before, but just a reminder that this thing can get very serious very quickly. If we don't do measures to keep things in check.
Yeah, I've heard from several people like yourself who have said they've had it, and you know what, it may not be the scary monster it was in the past, even though it can still kill you, but they said it's serious stuff. You do not want it. Now, it is odd to me. There are people at this station. There was one of our reporters who actually had to be tested for a story we were doing. They were walking around and felt perfectly fine, came back positive. He went home and stayed away from all of us, and it was great, and came back, and he said the whole time he was home he felt fine. And then he had no reaction. He had it and was fine. You had it and it knocked you on your butt. Is it the strain? Is it the personal genetics? Is it the exposure?
Well, that's the one thing that's been pretty consistent about COVID during this time is that, you know, I mean, it's like roulette. You know, sometimes some people get it and are fine. Some people get it, walk around with no symptoms whatsoever. Some people get it and it knocks them all the way out.
Yeah.
And so, you know, just taking that chance, and I'm gonna tell you, Nick, having had it once and to confirm and seeing that positive, and I knew instantly when I was tested, I was like, yeah, this is it. Like everything else that I felt before was some kind of summer cold or something like that. This is it, and I don't want it again. I'd never want to deal with that. You know, I've had the flu. I don't like the flu either. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But if I'm given my choice between the flu and COVID, I'll take the flu 10 times out of 10.
Yeah. Okay. It's that.
Yeah.
So where do we stand now on? First of all, there've been several strains that have come along, and this most recent one you just said is just the latest, I guess. We have it spreading through, you know, we have, you know, spikes in Middle Tennessee. What's the situation with vaccines? There was some talk that there may be another vaccine coming out later this year that's going to be more suited, targeting this strain, as opposed to, you know, you and I both had boosters for prior, and it maybe works on this, but it's not directly on that.
Yeah, so the boosters were mainly directed towards the Delta, Omicron, you know what I mean? Like the ones that were causing a lot of hospitalizations and deaths, okay? The virus has since kind of mutated and changed its spike protein to the extent that now it's kind of brushing away a lot of the protections. Not to say that it's not protecting people fully, but it's definitely invading and causing at least a minor to mild reaction in most people.
So yeah, the current vaccines that maybe aren't, as you just found out, 100% against these newer strains.
Correct. So the newer vaccines that they're working on are more targeted towards these particular spike proteins. And moreover, I think what we're looking at in the future is going to be more in keeping with what we would do with the flu in terms of recombinant vaccinations, the ones that have they have multiple variations of different types of COVID and can protect against, like, for instance, with the flu, they have the quadrivalent vaccines that have 4 different strains, the 4 most predominant strains in them. I think that we're going to be shifting more towards something specific to what we're seeing in particular areas and having it in that model like the flu. Okay,
so do you think there will be a shot that you or I should consider getting later this fall?
Yeah, absolutely.
You think so?
Absolutely.
On top, and it won't be, you know, the doctors I've talked to, and you've said as much, you don't want to get the shots too quickly between, because you can overstimulate your immune system, which can cause problems into itself, right?
Absolutely.
Now, I've had all the shots that are required up to this point. Knock on wood. I haven't had it yet. I am of the belief that sooner or later we're all probably going to encounter it, but you think later there will be another one that will be worth going for?
Absolutely, absolutely.
What's the timetable on that?
I would say, you know, probably in the next couple of months. I would think September, October.
Okay.
Right around that time period. I know based on what I've been, I mean, especially I had a lot of reason to read about the vaccines, and I'm one of those people that have a little bit of that natural immunity they talked about now, right? But I'm still being very cautious and looking at the research, looking at what they're talking about doing. I would think that a lot of those formulations would be ready towards right around the time we would consider traditionally the flu season.
Okay.
So September, October.
Yeah. Listen, we'll take one quick call. We're going to go to break. We have a lot more to talk about. We're talking COVID as well as we're going to get into the doctors. Got some, you know, the very latest on monkeypox here in Tennessee. And let's take Paul. Paul, good morning. Hi, Paul.
Hey, good morning, Nick, my friend.
Hey, how are you?
All right, good to talk to you again.
Sure.
I got one quick question for the doctor there. Doc, I am having my first 2 vaccinations, and I'm boosted 1 time. I'm due for my next booster. But y'all kind of addressed this in your previous comments. Do I need to wait and get the more targeted booster that's coming out in October? Now, I do have diabetes. I'm type 2 diabetic, Doc. So do I need to go on and get the booster now and then get it again in October, or wait? Now, there's a pivot to that. Is it about the first or second week of October I traditionally take my flu vaccine? So I don't want to take like 3 vaccines in a certain time period.
Yeah.
Excellent question. I think a lot of people are in the same. Should he go ahead and get that second now, or should he wait?
So if I were my patient, given everything that's going on, the fact that he has type 2 diabetes,
makes him more at risk,
and he's already due for the second, I would say go ahead and get that booster now.
Okay.
And then you know, he'll have some immunity. Even still, I mean, you know, again, I'm speculating. I didn't have the second booster. I don't know what could have or would have happened with me. But the likelihood and the chances are that he probably will benefit from that second booster given now.
Okay.
And then he can fit into a time timetable for that next booster that is more specific. And
enough time might pass where
enough time might pass where he might be able to get it a little bit later in the season, like maybe, I'm thinking like more towards the new year, January, February. He should have enough protection from that booster if he gets it now. Yep. From the regular, and again, I did not have the opportunity to get the second booster, but people who are qualified to do so absolutely should do it. And I'll tell you, from the people that have gotten a second booster, I'm not hearing a lot of reports of them having rebound or anything like that at all. One thing I should mention also is that, we do have the medications on the market, Paxlovid and things like that. President Biden was one of who received the Paxlovid. I didn't take the Paxlovid. I was by myself, and it was offered to me by someone close to me to take me to go get it, and I made the decision not to get it. We saw that President Biden had a little bit of a rebound, which was pretty common with it. It happens to enough people where it was something that was a concern for me, and I just, I kind of toughed it out. I'm a bad patient. I would probably recommend most people do the Paxlovid.
And what does that do again?
So Paxlovid works very much like Tamiflu.
So you take that when you're diagnosed with it, you take it orally,
you
and
have up to 5 days. So within a 5-day window, if you're having severe COVID symptoms or even mild to moderate COVID symptoms, it can help to decrease the symptoms.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. And the other point he made, what about folks that are maybe looking at other vaccines, be it the flu vaccine when it comes about, or I think I asked you about this, and you told me to just maybe wait a week. I'm still intent, and I haven't done it yet, on getting a shingles vaccine. I just want to get it because I don't want to risk getting shingles down the road. So would you say, is it going to be a problem if you get 2 of those vaccines on the same day?
I mean, in my practice, we've given 2 vaccines in the same day.
Like flu and COVID?
Flu and COVID, things of that nature. There's no inherent danger if your immune system's strong, things of that nature. But, that being said, if you can afford to wait a couple weeks or so.
So you don't get so achy or whatever, something along those lines. And by the way, he's right. And you have not, I guess, since you just recovered that second booster. When I had the second booster, my arm was a teeny bit sore. I had no bounce back. I didn't know I had it. It was fine. I was thinking to myself, did it work? But it's there. And knock on wood, again, there's folks out there that still, just are against getting the vaccine. And I worry about them. Every time I go get one, I walk out of there and I feel more bulletproof. And I am so glad. It gives me such confidence in the world I live in. I fly, I travel, I see a lot of people, and I'm not always wearing a mask depending on the situation. I'm glad to have that vaccine. And for me, as many places as I've been, knock on wood to this point, I have not gotten it. I think eventually I will. But I think a large measure has to do with the vaccine. I really do. Look, we'll take a break. When we come back, Ann, James, and others, if you're on the horn, 737-7587. We'll get to your phone calls when we come back. Later in the show as well, we're going to touch on monkeypox and the situation here in Tennessee. We'll even talk about the vaccines there. So stay with us.